Well, good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? I'm not doing too bad. I've been doing a few streams on Twitch and stuff and things like that. I mean, there's a couple of things I've kind of gone through in my own mind. I realize I don't have to. I have to stop reacting to the trolls, but not always easy sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. Depends on how much I've had to drink in certain situations. But I mean, okay. Sometimes I get a little bit shitty and cranky about things. Sometimes from time to time that happens, but you know what? I'm going to get shitty and cranky anyway from time to time. That's pretty much a normal reaction from me in some cases, in certain situations. Um, so, man, I'm not really here to talk about that today. I'm just here to talk about different random stuff I've been doing around just getting my life back into order. As a combination of those things, anyway. But I guess the stuff I want to stuff I want to talk about at the moment is how I've been going pretty much lately. Not too bad overall. I start back at the gym this week, obviously, which is going to be pretty much it's going to be a regular occurrence anyway. But I stopped over the holidays because I was kind of like just fucking tired, to be honest. Not well. It wasn't just anything to do with being tired. It was just like I was kind of just fucking doing my holiday thing, pretty much having a couple of drinks and relaxing and just smoking a few cigarettes or whatever and things like that, which I do on a pretty regular basis anyway. But no, I just pretty much getting back into the swing of doing all the stuff I usually do. Aside from that, I've been mucking around with my Google Home. I'm going to be getting 2 new security cameras not too distant in the future. I'm just waiting for them to arrive. But the problem is, in the ACT area, unfortunately, they have suspended deliveries, so I won't be getting those for at least a week or so, or probably a bit longer, maybe more than a week. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what is happening with those deliveries, but they've pretty much been suspended at this point in time. That's not a big issue. It's only because of the New South Wales bushfires. I'm not going to gripe too much about that, to be honest, because I feel a lot of empathy for people, especially when it comes to people who are dealing with the bushfires and a lot dealing with those shitty situations and the stuff they've been dealing with, basically. I feel a lot of... I feel a lot of empathy. I also feel a lot of just crap towards the government in general, because the government have been assholes lately when it comes to a lot of the stuff they've been doing. When they were supposed to give out funding, they didn't give out funding for the firefighters, which was a shitty situation by no means. I've pretty much been doing... What have I been doing lately? So, I've got two projects on the horizon at the moment. These 2 projects are going to involve me... Sorry, I'm playing some non-copyrighted music in the background, so I don't think I'll get none for copyright on this music, hopefully. We'll see what happens. I don't think it will, because it says no royalty-free music anyway on Spotify when I click to those particular songs. So, I guess the other side of it too is I've had a couple of things crop up on my channel and had a couple of things crop up with my Twitter. So, it would have been about a week ago. My Twitter was supposedly suspended because apparently they thought I was manipulating the platform and spamming it. And I'm like, yeah, kind of fuck off with that, because that wasn't actually true. And on top of that not being true, it was kind of like, well, I don't know. I mean, cooler heads prevailed, obviously, and they unsuspended me, which was great. That was fantastic. That was awesome. I explained a few things to them. I said that at one point my Twitter account got hacked in the past, and I pointed out if there's anything that may have been on my account that looked questionable, that was the reason that it happened in the first place. So that actually happened when I was in hospital. I went into hospital for about 3 to 4 months, and there was a 3 to 4 months where I didn't touch my Twitter account or any of my other online stuff. So it's pretty much, a time where I hadn't touched anything, and not just that, but I didn't change the password. I think whatever's happened is happened in that time. It's got hacked, and I wasn't aware of it until I got home, and then I changed the password and reset everything, and it was fine. So I got back into the account after that. Aside from that, I've had that happen. I've had a few other issues with fucking Facebook security, which has been driving me up the wall for like fucking months now. Probably about 3 to 4 fucking months almost now. Probably longer now. It's almost 5 months, actually, going on 5 months. I've literally had this problem where all my security options get set off, or something sets them off, or sets off suspicious activity that's been logged. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, so hold on a second. Firstly, I have an app called Trillion, and I use Trillion to keep track of my chats online, especially if I'm talking to scam artists and combination of those people like that. And the reason that the reason I think it's been getting set off is because I've got Trillion logged in, I've got my Messenger logged in, I've got my phone logged in, I've got my desktop logged in, and then sometimes I can log into several locations around inside my house where I log into Facebook. So I can either log in the workshop, or I can log in on my computer, or I can log in on my laptop. Now, I don't know what's necessarily setting it off. I put every possible security measure I could on the system in the first place to prevent anybody from hacking my account or getting anything from my Facebook account at all. So, in essence, I guess it's maybe I've done a little too much over security, or I've gone a little bit overboard with the security. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not the worst thing you could do. So I've got it all set up now with codes and stuff, so you have to enter codes if you want to reset stuff and things like that. Now, that's been happening for the past 5 months or so, and it's just been driving me up the fucking wall. I've just been just getting ready to rip some of these lungs out and fucking carve them into little tiny bits. That's fucking literally how I felt. And it's just, I'm just not sure what the hell's triggering it at the moment. I'm not exactly sure what's causing the issue. I'm not exactly sure why it keeps happening. I have a funny feeling it might be because somebody maybe is attempting to reset my password, or try to reset my password using one of the emails that I do have listed on my Facebook, and combination of those things. So maybe somebody's trying to reset stuff on me. So, yeah, it's just kind of weird. The thing is, though, I'll check back on the logins, and there's no suspicious logins that I can see. So it just seems to be me that's setting it off, or it appears to be just me setting it off. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe somebody's attempting to hack it, and then they just do a really shit job and they fuck it up. That's what's been happening there. So then I had my Twitter problem. I sorted that out. I sorted my Twitter out. I've been sorting my Facebook out so far. I've been resetting it and everything else, and just, I've had to reset the damn password so fucking much. The other thing too that I've had, it's only been happening on and off, is somebody has been reporting some of my Facebook posts as spam, which is bullshit. It's a fraudulent fucking thing, and the truth is, it's pissing me off to no end. I don't know, like I said, I've been targeted by a lot of trollish stuff lately, and, to be honest, I've just kind of had enough of it. It's just like, fuck it, I don't really give a shit. I'm just flicking it off in there. I'm gonna ignore it as much as I possibly can, because that's probably the best thing I can do for myself, is realistically ignore most of it. I mean, there's still going to be moments where I'm going to get pissed off and annoyed, and I'm going to say, oh fuck, that pissed me off, and I'm going to scream at it and yell at it and get the shits with it. But there's going to be other times where I just don't really care, and I'm just like, fuck, who cares? I'm pretty much going to walk away from it. But, okay, some people will ask the question, why do you care so much about that stuff? I guess I care because I'm trying to get myself into a better mind frame. I'm trying to get into a better side of things. I'm trying to find a better audience. I mean, look, at the end of it, I've had some good people who I've definitely had in my audience who are fantastic people to talk to, and there's plenty of people that I know that they're nice, they're very compassionate, they're understanding. Not just that, they have a very kind disposition, and, they don't expect to get a reaction out of you all the time. But people do definitely do that. They come at you from all sides. Whether it's for a reaction of you not liking a particular type of thing, or having a go at you because you say you don't like a particular thing, or you have something against it, or you don't think it's funny, or you don't think it's a joke. I have learned that if I react to that stuff, most of the time people are going to come at me anyway, regardless of the situation. So it just sort of like, I'm just going, fuck it. Most of the time I try not to react to it too badly. And the problem is that, like I said, I've had a few people who've been negative, who've had negative impact on things. So, I don't know, realistically, for a while, I had a few people on blocks, and I was like, yeah, I'll give them another chance, I'll see what they do. And ultimately, they did the same fucking thing. It was like the same damn cycle, and I'm like, fuck it, no. I'm not having any more of this shit in my channel. Well, not just my YouTube channel, but other channels that I have as well, including with, Twitch and everything else, and Mixer or whatever. I still realistically have to ban those people on some of those other platforms, but it just, yeah. I've kind of just got to the point where it's like, nah, I'm simply gonna try and ignore it as much as I possibly can, focus on myself, focus on what I can do about things in my life, focus on the good stuff, which there has been a lot of good stuff in my life lately, you know, my blood test results and my blood sugar, my blood sugars and my cholesterol have been great. My doctor is quite happy with me. I've been going to the gym on a regular basis. I've been doing yoga on a regular basis, which has really helped me a lot to clear some of my mindset on things. I still drink. I still smoke. I wouldn't call those negative habits. I mean, they may be negative depending on the situation and how you place them. I'll look at this, put it this way. I'm never going to stop streaming. I'm never going to stop producing internet content. It's not going to stop me from doing it. Regardless, I don't give a shit if there's going to be an occasional angry reaction from me. I'm still going to do it regardless, and I'm just going to tell people to go fucking suck a dick, to be honest. Those people can just fucking suck my middle finger to fuck off, you cunts. But like I said, it's not everybody who I'm going to necessarily say that it's everybody who's come along in my audience. It's just certain people. And I've just learned, well, fuck it, I don't care. Whatever, you have your own fucking opinion. But to be honest, these people have their own issues anyway. They clearly have some type of issues. You know, I have weight issues. I'm not arguing that. But in comparison to some people I know and people that I've known, I know people who are way heavier than my original weight, to be honest. My weight is actually pretty mild compared to them. They're probably like 20 or 30 kilos more than what I am. So, you know, realistically, I'm 128, 129 kilos at the moment. Now, I've sort of been stuck on that weight. I can't seem to get below that weight. I have lost weight. I've lost fucking 10 kilos. So, you know, I mean, 10 kilos is a good amount of weight. But I haven't quite lost all the weight that I expected I'm going to lose. And I have been going to the gym, that's my point. It's not as if I haven't been going to the gym. But I know, and from talking to my doctor and him explaining it to me, he said the problem is that you have to do twice as much exercise as every other motherfucker because of the fact that, I kind of feel it's fucking unfair and it's fucking stupid. But I have to do twice the amount of exercise that a normal person does because of the fact that my medications slow down my metabolism, fuck with my blood sugars, fuck with my cholesterol levels, fuck with everything else in me. I mean, okay, you're probably going to say, oh, the smoking's not helping. Well, I probably fucking know that. I'm well aware of that. Let's work on one bad habit at a time. I'd like to work on the weight first before I work on the fucking smoking and the drinking, as a personal preference point, but I am working on all of them presently. But you know what? Aside from that, there's definitely some things that have come through, like, even though I drink, smoking, I only started smoking 3 years ago. So realistically, it's, you know, it's not the most negative thing in my life. I only started smoking 3 years ago. That was because of stress factors, different things were going on in my life, and just the fact that I got, you know, stuff that fucked me up with a few online relationship stuff that was just really fucked. Once I got out of that realm of everything and, you know, just getting back into everything else. I mean, okay, the other side of it too is I am socially isolated where I am. And you're probably going to say, well, no, you're not socially isolated. You can get out of the house. Yeah, no, that's not the issue. I can get out of the house, and I do get out of the house. That's beside the point. I get out, okay, you know, I can go to a club, I can go to a pub. That's fine. I do that. And I have done that in the past. My main issue is that I don't have a lot of good friends where I am, especially in Canberra. I have maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 at the maximum friends in Canberra, and half of them don't really talk to me as much as they used to. I mean, I had more friends back in Wollongong. I had at least 10 friends in Wollongong that I could talk to on a regular basis. Recently, I had one of those friends from Wollongong die, which was fucking perplexingly fucked because he was a really good friend and he was a really good guy to talk to. He died of a heart attack, which he had some issues going on. I think it was weight issues or a combination of. It wasn't just weight issues in him; it was a much deeper thing. He had a lot of stress issues and stuff going on too, you know. But he died of a heart attack, and I think it was probably mainly because maybe he didn't go to the doctor as regularly as he should have gone to the doctor. Truthfully, I think he should have been going to the doctor more regularly and like just talking to him most of the time. I don't think he was really real big person on the doctor side of things. I definitely go to my doctor more than he did. But you know, the other side of it, I guess, in essence of it, is that my personal life has been not too bad. I mean, you know, I have a pretty good life. I spend a lot of time with my nephews. Now, my nephews are probably in the age category, so like 24, 25, you know, around that age bracket. I spend a lot of time with them. So typically I'll go out with my nephews, or we'll go out. So I've been out to the pub and played some pool with my nephews and had a couple of beers. Typically we'll go to the club, or we'll go to a gaming room or something, and I'll play a couple of games on the video arcades or whatever. That's always awesome. The other side of it too is I do have a friend I regularly talk to. His name's Michael. He's pretty cool. He's a good friend of mine, and we've been friends since I did my Cert 4 degree with him. My Certificate 4 in IT. He's a fantastic guy. He's got a really good personality, and not just that, he's just generally, you know, he's always been a pretty good friend. But I also have a few asshole friends online that still annoy me to this day. But then, I don't know, they annoy me, but then I think the purpose is for them to annoy me in the first place. I don't mind them so much, but I mean, when people are just randomly coming in and having a go at me, who I would say I don't really know them that particularly well. Like I said, there's the other side of it too. I don't find bestiality jokes funny. I don't find pedophile jokes funny, to be honest. Well, maybe if they're taken in a certain context and they're not meant to be serious. But, like, to be honest, most of the time, that stuff I don't really find funny, because it's kind of disgusting in my mind. I just can't understand why people have to focus on that, especially when they're in the fucking streams. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know? Yes, I'm a bit of a freak. I'm a bit of a weirdo. Doesn't mean that I go around fucking my dog, which is kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with you, retards? I'm just like, really? Which I'm kind of like, that's interesting. I just kind of wonder what's in the background there. Like, are they doing that to their dogs, or is there something going on there? Maybe it's just how I perceive it myself. But yeah. Aside from that, I have learned a lot of different things about people online. There's always good and there's always bad, and there's always positive, there's always negative. And depending on the situation, you can perceive it either way. But I guess, you know, the other context is, I've definitely got too drunk sometimes and not realized what's happened during a stream, or something has happened and I've blacked out or whatever. I'm not just blacked out, but I've got so drunk to the past point where it's detrimentally affecting my health. Hence the reason I still drink, but I don't drink excessively or too excessively. And not just that, typically I'll try to walk away from the computer if I'm way too inebriated. There's definitely been situations where that's happened. But the other side of it, I guess, is that the thing that annoys me the most is that people, you know, it's been a constant barrage of harassment about stuff. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, my weight is always going to be an issue. Weight jokes don't necessarily bother me most of the time. And most of the time I can take them on the chin in a given situation, and I learn to ignore them. But the thing is, I've been working very hard towards losing weight, and it's not as if I'm not attempting or putting any effort into it at all. And that's the thing that pisses me off the most, I guess, is when people do have a go at me about the weight, is it makes me feel a bit defeated in the background of my mind when I think, okay, hold on a fucking second, like, I'm actually putting some fucking effort into losing weight. Like, what the fuck is your problem? Seriously. Yes, I have always been a big guy. Yes, I've always had weight on me. Now, does that make me a bad person? No, it doesn't make me a bad person at all. Does it make me a negative person because I've stuck at the same weight level? I've always been at the same sort of weight level most of my life? No, it doesn't make me a bad person at all. I inherently know this, and, you know, in the back of my mind, I know that I'm not a bad person because of that. But people are always going to make you feel negative, especially if they can online, and they're always going to punch at your self-esteem anyway. I do have some self-esteem issues. I act very confident on camera, because most of the time I am very confident on camera in most cases. But I do have some self-esteem issues that relate back to my personality, relate back to the fact that I was bullied as a kid, and I was always put down. I would have had shit thrown at me regardless of the situation. I've always had people that go at me most of my life, And it got to a certain point where I just couldn't take the shit anymore, so I just walked away from it. Now, am I saying that, these people... Well, I'm saying these people are probably pretty bad people to begin with, if they're going to ultimately have a go at someone all the fucking time, or always come in and have a go at someone for something, or always fuck around with someone, or always make them feel like a particular way. Look, I'm far from perfect. I have issues. But I admit those issues up front. I tell people exactly what's wrong with me. They can either take me or they can fucking leave me. At the end of it, I do not really give a shit. And I could give a shit less if people take me or leave me, depending on the situation. I've learned so fucking much from just listening to people's opinions, and not just opinions, but listening to how people convey themselves on the internet. It's a total disconnect from emotions. It's a total disconnect from everybody else. And the truth is, why in the fucking world would you have a go at someone when they haven't really done anything to you? They've never really been... Effectively, I don't know, that these people have never really... I don't know, I mean... I don't know. I sort of have a go at people. I have a go at trolls sometimes. And maybe it's my own fault a little bit for feeding the trolls. I admit that. It's probably a little bit in the background that it's my own fault for feeding the trolls in the first place, and maybe having a little bit too much of a go at it in that sense, So maybe that is a bit of an issue for me sometimes, and maybe I need to learn to step back from that. And I'm not arguing that. That's something I probably need to adjust to, and that's probably something I need to think about a bit more in certain situations. Other side of it too is, when you've had a couple of drinks, you don't necessarily use the best judgment. Sometimes you don't analyze the situation correctly. You don't look at it from the right perspective. You don't see exactly what's going on. You don't analyze things very well. Sometimes you get angry on a whim. I have a temper. Is it a bad temper? It depends on what I'm doing. Now, I don't get angry with people. Actually, it depends on the person. I mean, I've got angry with people in the past. That's true, I've got angry with people in the past. But, I don't go around hitting people. I don't go around killing people. I don't go around raping people. Whatever the fucking people supposedly think I fucking do, which is kind of just like, what the fuck, okay? Jesus Christ, you must have a depraved life. But, I don't go around doing that stuff. Yes, I have a temper. Yes, I yell. Yes, I get angry. Yes, I get the shits with things. Yes, I rant. Yes, I rave. Yes, I get the fucking shits with certain things in my life if they don't go the exact way that I expect them to. I am a bit of a perfectionist. I like to have things in line with what I need to do. I like to be in control of things that I want to be in control of. Maybe that's just who I am. Maybe that's just the person that I ultimately am. That I want to be in control. Not just be in control, but I want to have, not just control of the situation, but I want to be able to say that I'm doing the right thing in the right situation, or in this situation I'm doing the right thing. I'm far from perfect, but I have my issues. But obviously and clearly, I'm pretty sure the other people in question of this situation do have their own issues as well. And I think they've got their own personal issues. Maybe they're personal issues with their family, or maybe they're personal mental issues that they would need to work through. When you're quoting Nazi jokes, it kind of just, obviously there's some back issues going on there. I don't know what exactly is going on. I'd say it's just a psychological breakdown of things, but I think the most interesting thing that I find is just that people's perceptions or how people think of things is just... It's sickening to some degree, the shit that people seem to want to think up, especially the sick and twisted shit that people come up with. Now, people have turned around and says, it's like, oh, you're degenerate lifestyle, or, some shit like that. I don't consider myself a degenerate in the first place, alright? I've never considered myself that at all. I like drinking, yes. I like smoking, yes. But I fix computers. That's the first part of it, alright? I live my life. I do internet streaming. I do YouTube videos. Among doing YouTube videos, I do a bunch of other stuff as well. It's not just one thing for me. I do other stuff aside from YouTube and fixing PCs. Yes, those two things are a main part of my life, and I like focusing on them because maybe there's the fact that I was recently diagnosed with autism, and it's the fact, I got the schizophrenia to combine, but I got the autism as well. It's the fact that I focus more on those subjects than anything else. And yes, those subjects are not always interesting. Sometimes they can be interesting, about depending on what you're doing with them, and if you get the right types of people involved with them, or the right types of people who are interested in those subjects. Now, I guess the part that I find fascinating in the long run is that there's always people coming from all directions. You know, I mean, regardless of it, it just seems like people are so adamant about driving things forward, you know. And I mean, having a go at someone to the point where, you know, and then of course then there's the other side. There's the worst shit they could say. I mean, you know, they tell you to kill yourself, all this other shit and everything else. Kind of like, you know, effectively that fucking shit doesn't work on me. I mean, look, the amount of times I probably try to kill myself realistically in my own life is probably astronomically fucking high. And I've just learned to fucking get the fuck over it in most cases. You know, I haven't seen a situation where I haven't managed to get over it. I mean, the only thing maybe is sometimes I get a little depressed, I get a little down, you know. But, to be honest, I don't fucking cry about it. Never have. I just sort of slump into a point of depression and I tend to sleep. It's normally what happens in most cases. Aside from that, you know, I'm capable of doing the things I need to do. It's just that I do it at my own speed. I've always had my own speed when it comes to things in my life, and if I didn't do it at my own speed, it wouldn't feel right. And not just that, but if I didn't do it my own way, my own speed, there would be an issue. Now, yes, I'll take advice from people that I respect, but only if I respect them. If I don't respect somebody, I refuse to take advice from them, because if they've not earned my respect at all, then they can go fuck off. I'm happy to listen to other people's advice, and I'm happy to talk to people, and I'm happy to understand people's perspectives, but I also think there's some people who are just dipshits, and they obviously have fucking no valid points of view. I mean, especially when it comes to science and modern things, you know. There's normally people you can tell when they're actually quite intelligent and when they're idiotic, but then, I don't know, there's a lot of people you can tell that they're idiots when they drink, especially when they do stupid shit. I've definitely notoriously fucking bad at doing some stupid shit while I've had a couple of drinks in my system. And you know what? I'll own up to that. I do some stupid shit, and I've done some stupid shit and silly shit while I've been drunk. You know what? I will own up to that. I'll be honest, I have. And so what? Everybody does. Who cares? Is it relevant to me? No. Because we all do it. Everybody does stupid shit when they're drunk. Anybody who says that they don't is a fucking lying bastard, to be honest. If I've not seen anybody who doesn't do stupid shit when in that case. I don't do stupid shit when I'm stoned, though, but I definitely do stupid shit when I'm drunk. You know, I guess the other side of it, too, is people come to see me. I guess some people want to come to see me do stupid shit on stream. But the thing is, my streams aren't always about fucking, you know, it's not always about getting drunk. It's not always about being stupid. I mean, I guess that's the point. It's not always about that. And I guess the relative point that I want to make with most of this shit is that sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's simply about, you know, fixing a computer or getting a bit of RAM or giving people advice on computer parts or telling people what the best type of computer parts are or what the best build is to go for. You know, other stuff like that. Like, it's not always being stupid. I mean, yeah, there's being stupid, but I mean, the truth is I can't drink every day of the week. Because firstly, I don't want to be drunk every day of the week. That would just be ridiculous. Firstly, it's not going to do my health any good either if I'm drunk every day of the week. That's just not going to help me at all. I mean, aside from not being drunk, aside from not being wanting to be drunk all fucking week, the other side of the situation is that I want to show that I can be professional, and that's my point. I can be a professional. I can be a professional about what I do. I can be professional and focused about how I do things. Yes, my anxiety affects some level of my work in some situation, especially if I'm anxious about a particular situation with a client or something like that. That definitely does affect my work sometimes, but at the end of it, I'll get the job done, and it'll be done and dusted and fixed up, and the job's done, you know? But the truth of the matter is that sometimes my anxiety does affect how I feel. Sometimes my anxiety affects, you know, not just it. I mean, my schizophrenia and my anxiety affects how I, represent things, I guess, to a certain extent. I mean, sometimes it'll affect me in different ways. In certain situations, it won't affect me. In other situations, it might. Now, here's the thing. I tend to try to put on a good front with most people, and I try to put on a good personality if I can, and I try to make people feel at ease and comfortable. Now, yes, I'm kinky. I'm sexually provocative, flirty, even. Well, not flirty necessarily. I'm just sexually provocative. I'm fucking kinky. I'm a bit freaky. But the truth is, even if I am that, I'm not necessarily going to show that to someone that I've just met or someone that I'm just coming across in certain situations. I don't necessarily feel the need to go out of my way to sexualize everything around me, including women or men for that matter. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm not going to sexualize everything around me because I don't see the fucking point in sexualizing everything around me. Yes, I'm weird. I know this, but I'm not I'm a bit freaky sometimes, maybe. Kind of weird, but I mean, most of the time all that freakiness comes out when I've been drunk or something, really, realistically. But I'm a pretty plain Jane, down-to-earth person who likes computers and likes fixing them, likes building them, likes rebuilding them, likes, doing little projects and stuff like that and mucking around with stuff. And the truth is, that's always who I've been, and that's always what my natural personality is. Now, if people find that a bit boring, I guess they do. But, I mean... I guess there's the other side of it, too, is, depending on who I'm talking to, some people may provoke more of a reaction than others. I'm not arguing that. I guess the other side of it, too, is you've got to consider that I have certain trigger things that may trigger me in certain circumstances. I may get triggered by certain things, and it's not everything I get triggered by. And the truth is, some things will trigger me, some things I just don't give a shit about. And it depends on if I've had a couple of drinks, I tend not to give a shit, or I tend not to care about it. Or if I've had a couple of if I've had smoked a bit of weed or something like that, it doesn't it doesn't bother me as much. But I guess the main issue I've got is that people perceive everything. Well, people seem to perceive that I don't do anything at all, which that's not true. I do actually do a lot of stuff, and I think it's how people perceive it. I think it's how people. Thing is, I don't talk about sexual escapades. I don't talk about going to clubs. I don't talk about doing all that other stuff and everything else. Because that's part of my personal life, and maybe I don't want to give all that exposure to people. I mean, I talk about certain aspects of my life, especially when it comes to computers, because that's part of my personal life as well. But, it's also part of my professional life also. And I guess the most annoying part is that, or the most annoying part I find is that people assume that I'm not... Okay, firstly, they assume that I'm not active, which that's in no way true at all. I am an active person. I do get out. I do function in society from some degree. There's going to be those days where I don't. I'm the opposite of it. But there's also going to be those days where I just, I love talking to people. I love chatting to people. I love going out and doing stuff, And the truth is, I do a combination of different activities. There's a regular group that I attend, which just play like board games and stuff, and I can play a little bit of bingo, play some pool from time to time. What else? There's even a cooking class I was attending for a while, which was good. That was fun. Aside from cooking classes, I was doing a bunch of other stuff as well. But here's the thing, the honest truth is, why do we always have to talk about our sexual escapades? Why do we always, as males, why do we always have to accentuate that part of our life, why is sexual escapades always the thing that you must talk about and you must discuss? And it's always about how many women you fucked, or how many women you did this, or how many guys you fucked either. But that's my point. I mean, why does the entirety of your life have to be about what you fuck and what you don't fuck, or whether you make porn or whether you don't make porn? I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't have a problem with sexualization, but I have a problem with some degree of objectification to a certain degree. Because being objective all the time, especially treating everybody as a sexual object, is kind of ridiculous. You shouldn't have to do it all the time. I mean, That's my point. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't treat somebody as an object all the time. I don't care whether they're male or fucking female, but you shouldn't always treat somebody as a sexual object. I feel it's kind of a bit stupid. Like, really? Is that all your life is about? Really? I guess the other side of it too is that I've definitely come a long way from where I was. I've lost weight. I've got my blood sugars and my cholesterol levels back to normal. I'm seeing a therapist every 2 weeks, which is helping me a lot with a lot of stuff I do in my life. And the therapist has definitely helped me. He's helped me try and block out the negative people in my life, which I'm actually grateful for. I've blocked out some of those people, but there's some people I still let back in. But it's only because I guess I have a bit of a weak spot for those people. Well, I don't know. It's such an interesting situation, I guess, to some degree, because I think in the back of my mind, I think, what possesses a person to do particular things that they do. Whether it's, well, for example, lately, if you've seen the fucking New South Wales bushfires, they've been fucking atrociously fucked. I mean, they've just been retarded. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why are people setting fires? Why are people setting fucking fires in the middle of fucking bushfires? Why the fuck is everybody setting fires? Why? Please explain why they are setting fires. So that's kind of something that I was kind of a little annoyed about in the background of my mind, I'm thinking, fucking hell, and then on top of that, the government not having as much funding either. Now, the other side of it, too, is I looked through the actual facts of the reason why the it's not the Red Cross, but the Rural Fire Services didn't get as much funding as they should have got, because it was basically down to the New South Wales government, which makes sense, because the New South Wales government are fucking idiots. The main problem with the New South Wales government is they are, like, in my past experience from when I used to live in New South Wales, they're not the greatest when it comes to managing funds. They can't manage funds really well, and they tend to splurge on everything, and they tend to fuck it up pretty badly. Now that's the New South Wales government. ACT government's they seem a little bit better. But then the other side of it too is when funding was requested specifically for the New South Wales fireys and everything else. There was no, like, the initial pass through of getting that funding was fucking difficult. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's sort of a tough situation to explain, because, or it's a tough situation to think about, especially with the New South Wales fires and stuff and things like that. I don't know whether it's that or whether it's other stuff. I still don't understand. As I said, getting back to my original point, which was I don't understand why, or I guess in the background of my mind, I can't understand why somebody would go and set a fire, or why somebody would do some dodgy ass shit or nasty ass shit to somebody on the internet, or why somebody would be so fucking nasty in the first place, or why somebody would feel the need to troll somebody, because they want to stop them streaming, or they want to stop them from doing the things that they do on the internet. And to be honest, I enjoy doing stuff on the internet. I've had a bit of anxiety about streaming lately. I guess the only reason I've had that anxiety is because I guess I'm too... I'm expecting somebody to come in and have a go at me, so I'm always on the defensive. So it's sort of when I go to stream, I don't feel as relaxed. Now, the truth is, I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't have to feel that way. At least I think in the back of my mind. The other side of it too, I guess, is that I've thought about this logically, and I guess it's the reaction that people are expecting. People want the reaction, and they want to go into the reaction. They want to get it. So I guess at the end of it, if I don't react, or if I don't react virulently, that might be the better option. It might be the better option if I just walk away from it, or just, ignore it as much as I possibly can. Up until the point that I end up banning them out of my chat anyway. Because that's something new that I've started to do, which is pretty much ban people out of chat. Funny thing is that seems to be considered a virile reaction if you ban somebody out of your chat. And I don't think it's a virile reaction. It's just protecting yourself. It's normal. I mean, it's not a weakness. It's protecting yourself. It's protecting your mental health. It's protecting your mind. Especially if you feel that you're affected by something, or you feel you may be affected by certain things that are said. I mean, the other side of it too is most people may note. I mean, I know this myself because I notice when people or something say for example, somebody creates a new username and it's always having a go at me, regardless. That fucking username is always having a go at me. So I can always tell because normally they target it specifically. Because I'll notice it in the background and I'll notice the psychological tactic they're trying. It's psychological warfare, as it were, that they're trying to get at, really. Which, like I said, it's neither here nor there. I mean, nobody's perfect. Life isn't perfect. But I have learned a few things about myself and about the other stuff that goes on in life. You've got to take into consideration that maybe there's just some people who are bored and they have lots of time on their hands, so they have enough time to muck around with that stuff and they have enough time to fuck around with it. I've definitely done... I don't know. I mean, I've trolled people, but I know my limits, and I know there's stuff that I think is honestly... I'd draw the line at, I'll draw the line in the sand and say, no, I'm not going to do that. And I've definitely done that stuff in the past, But the way that I think of it logically is that if you're going to do that stuff, at least, be original, be constructive, I guess. I mean, there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism, as long as it's not too virulent. You know what I mean? That's how I think of it anyway. Look, fair enough. The world isn't perfect. The world isn't fucking fair, which is kind of a fucked up thing in my mind, that the world should be a little fairer. The world should be a little fairer. The world should be a little bit less... I mean, there's nothing wrong with insulting people, and, what I mean by that is, it's okay to occasionally insult a person and have a bit of a go at them as a mate, but if you don't know them directly, or you don't know them in real life and what they are like in real life, and you're just pretending to know what they're like in real life, then how can you even give a gauge on who that person is or how their life is? And I guess that's the most frustrating part that I found with these trolls, is that they feel the need to come after you, and they they sort of target you with these different things, And I guess the worst thing for me, or the most annoying thing, is that because I have psychological issues, which is related to my schizophrenia, and I do have voices in my head. Now, the voices in my head don't say the exact same things that the trolls say, but there's similarities between what's said and what voices come in what voices are in my head. There's similar things. They're not exactly the same, because most of the time the voices in my head I've retrained. I've retrained the voices in my head to be the opposite way now, to actually see things as a positive, or always turn things more into a positive, in comparison to what they used to be. Because the truth is, I used to have a very negative self-view. I used to have a lot more... I mean, I used to have a worse... I used to have a really, really badly negative self-view. And this was a long time ago. Now, I'd say that my self-view is not as negative as it used to be. It still is some days. There's literally some days where all I can see, I literally wake up and all I see is the negative in the world. And just in everything that's negative around me. And then there's other days that's just the opposite. It's the total opposite. I see everything positive in the world. But this is the problem with schizophrenia inherently, and any condition that relates to depression or otherwise, or anxiety issues, is that you can have those moments where you see only positive or you see only negative. And when you're in the total negative space, it really fucks you up, and it makes you feel like shit, makes you feel worthless, makes you feel like you can't do anything. The truth is, I know I'm quite capable. I'm not perfect. I'm not the greatest in the world, but I mean, I know I'm intelligent. I know I'm capable. I have Aspie, or, Asperger's as they call it. Asperger's, sorry, correct pronunciation. I have schizophrenia, I have depression, anxiety, and, I mean, pretty much in the sense, I have what they call a high-functioning autism. Now, the problem inherently with that is that I do get rageful, and the rageful stuff comes from mostly the frustration with mainly to do with my autism frustrating me sometimes, or if my set routine gets fucked up, my set routine pisses me off that my set routine is not working anymore, or it doesn't work the same way it used to, or things have to change. That's the other thing too. Effectively, I mean, in essence of context, autism in itself is a sense of not being able to change or get out of a change, or change a pattern in yourself. Sorry, I'm just laughing at my dad. But yeah, like, effectively, it's changing those things that can be the hardest thing. But I have made changes in my life, and I'm making a more regular routine of things now. I'm making things a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for here? I'm making things a lot more. I'm making things a lot more. I don't know. Look, I've changed my routines, which has sort of mucked me up a bit because I had a regular routine of doing certain things I wanted to do. I've had to come out of my shell about a bit more with some things in my life, admittedly. But the only reason that I went retracted back into my shell in the first place is because of my medications and how much it mucked me up. And not just the fact that it mucked me up, but it made me feel like absolute fucking shit sometimes. Like, if anybody has ever dealt with antipsychotic medications, they are not the ideal medication to take. Aside from the fact that you get occasional short-term memory loss from time to time, there's also other factors, aches, pains, joint pains, whatever. You get shit that just fucks with you completely. There's blood sugar levels, there's cholesterol. I don't know whether it might affect cholesterol levels as well, depending on the situation. And it just, aside from that, it slows your metabolism down. It makes your body feel like shit. Effectively, sometimes it just makes you feel like, you can't do anything. And there's definitely times where it just makes you feel like fucking mentally retarded. That actually makes you feel that way. But effectively, that's only sometimes. And once you get used to the dose, and get used to the meds fluctuating in your system, most of the time you can adjust to that. And there's also natural remedies that I take, which are a key point of my herbal side of things, especially if I'm a very natural human being when it comes to stuff like that. The vast majority of stuff that I take these days is related to. So let's see. I mean, people seem to think I'm not healthy. That's my point. Or I don't consider my health. Yeah, just because I smoke doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not considering my health. Yeah, it's that smoking factor is true. I don't consider that part of my health. But when it comes to other things in my life, vitamin tablet every day, men's vitamin tablet, milk thistle 500 milligrams, ginkgo biloba 2,000 milligrams, turmeric, what's that? It's 100 grams, I think. No, 900 grams. Sorry, 900 milligrams. That is. Yeah. And then you got vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams. So that's my point. It's not as if I don't take my health into consideration with this stuff, because there was eventually a point in my life where I wasn't going to the doctor for a fair while, and I think most of this stuff saved my life when it comes to. I probably would have been dead a lot earlier. I would have effectively been dead earlier in my life. I reckon if I wasn't taking half these herbal pills that I do take these days. And that's the thing, I guess, that in the back of my mind I'm thinking, well, I must be doing something right. There must be stuff that I'm doing for my health, which is ultimately giving me a foot forward when it comes to this stuff. You know what I mean? And not just that, but it is effective on me, and it's working on me. So it's actually effective and it is working. So it's, that's my point. I've come to the conclusion, and I mean, even through some of the people that I know, personally friends who've even recommended some of these things, they've always pointed out that, I have plenty of people who always point out to me that natural stuff has a lot more. I don't know. For me, I feel personally natural stuff has a much more abundance with me. It works better with my body. It naturally balances me out, But there's still going to be the fact that I'm on 2 different medications. I'm effectively on I'm on these, and I'm on metformin and some cholesterol meds, and very low doses, like 5 milligrams, and I think the metformin's like 1,000 milligrams or something. I think 500 milligrams each. Other side of it too is sometimes I miss those pills, or I don't necessarily take them at the time I should. But I've still managed to keep my blood sugars under control using these, as well as taking those other pills when I don't forget. Which, to be honest, it's not very often I forget. Like, it's maybe once or twice I might forget. Or the thing is, I don't like to double dose, so you don't really want to double dose yourself on a prescription medication, which, you know, it's just effectively stupid if you don't. I mean, if you double dose yourself on something like prescription medication, it's more likely to kill you. So yeah, that's, you know, that's how I work it out there. On top of that, I do have actual. I used to have a guidebook to prescription medications and what doses are safe, what doses isn't safe, and I've read that a while back. I remember a lot from it, to be honest. So effectively, I know what dose will do what dose won't do this, and if this dose is going to kill me, or if this dose will do whatever, you know. I guess the other side of it too is, you know, I'm also on an antidepressant on Prozac. Now, Prozac is not. I mean, Prozac's okay, but it still has its side effects, and it still has some, you know, annoying side effects, as much as Risperidone does. Risperidone, I have a Risperidone injection in the arm every fucking 2 weeks. So, you know, effectively, and the other thing too is I'm mandated to take that every 2 weeks. I can't go off it. It's, you know, effectively, if I go off that medication, they put me back in hospital. So, yeah, I can't walk away from that medication, unfortunately. That's just the way it works. And, you know, if I could stop taking it, I probably would. And that's my point. There's only so much you can do, especially when you're on an antipsychotic and you're dealing with psychotic symptoms and psychosis. Effectively, psychosis can be any number of things from different situations. It can be being overly paranoid. It can be other things, you know. And effectively, in context, is that I find the problem with people, especially if somebody has a mental illness, there are a lot of people out there who will always take advantage of the situation, always take advantage of you, and that shits me to fucking tears. Well, it doesn't really shit me to tears, because that's probably not the right word. It just shits me. In general, it just shits me. It shits me, absolutely shits me, because I can't understand why you take advantage of somebody just because you feel they're slower or something like that. I mean, I don't know, me personally, I'm a nurturing person. I'd rather look after the person who has that issue. Like, I'd rather look after them. I'd rather look after them than actually cause problems in their life, you know? I don't know. That's just me. But, I look after my dog, I look after my dad, I look after my whole fucking family, you know? In the sense of all the IT work and everything else I do for my family, is pretty much all the stuff I do for my family, because I love my family. I guess the other thing too is now I've made it a rule now that if the family really needs some IT work done, I'm going to have to charge from now on. But I don't charge them as much as I would a normal client. I've made up some family pricing anyway, just because it was effectively, it was an issue sometimes, because I just felt like I was getting used all the time, especially when it came to, the amount of IT work that my family gets me to do. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I do a lot for my family. I mean, okay, I fix my sister's laptop, I fix my niece's computer, I fix all my 3 nephews' computers, and any other family who comes along, I fix the same thing, I fix their computers as well. And it's not that I didn't want to fix them, but I have to get something for it. I mean, I can't exactly do it for free, you know, because effectively I am, I'm doing business stuff and everything else, so, I guess, as I said, I've thought about some of this stuff, and I've thought about it in the back of my mind. I mean, I'm far from perfect. I still make errors. There's still miscommunications between me and other people. Sometimes I don't necessarily hear. Sometimes people when people say something to me, I don't necessarily hear as clearly. Sometimes people have to state things a bit more clearly to me, or explain things a little bit more clearly to me for me to understand certain things. Sometimes it's effectively that people just didn't explain themselves well in the first place. Other sides of it too is people, I mean, I've had some recent stuff which has been, actually it's not too bad. I've actually had a couple of inquiries this week, so which has been good with business side of things anyway. But I have had a few jobs on and off. Effectively, I did a air compressor cleaning job for a client, and I did a couple other jobs as well in between, which has been good. I've been intermittently getting work here and there. And, it's been good. It's, it's not the best, most ideal situation, I guess, because I probably spend too much on cigarettes. Let's be honest here. Effectively, I'm being honest with that. I spend more on cigarettes than I do on alcohol. That's the surprising part. I spend less on weed, surprisingly. Less on weed and less on alcohol. That's interesting. Just a point of fact. Shows you how much weed I smoke. I don't smoke that much, so just ironic. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've tried my best to sort of keep myself on the straight and narrow with most things. And I mean, I'm not a perfect human being. I make mistakes. I make errors. I fumble. I trip over myself sometimes. I've made a couple of mistakes here and there. But when it comes to my job, I tend not to make a lot of mistakes. It's very rare that I make a mistake with my job. Particularly, when I'm repairing or fixing something, I tend not to make mistakes with that. There's only maybe been once or twice where effectively the clients asked for something and I didn't realize that they asked for something, that they were asking for something else because they didn't really communicate the way or came across the same way, or effectively they didn't tell me exactly what they wanted. They just described roughly what they wanted and I estimated what they wanted or assumed. So yeah, that's the only time there's a bit of miscommunication there and maybe a slight error on my part. But when it comes to doing things, I know how to do things. I know effectively what I need to do with particular jobs or how a particular job needs to be done. I've got a set routine for how I do the job in the first place. I always make sure that I do it on time as much as I possibly can, but I also give myself leeway in case there's some extra days or I'm effectively not home when I have to do things. As I now have more of a schedule, I have to time things with that. So, I still do the jobs, but there's definitely jobs that have taken me extra time because effectively the job I thought would be relatively easy has turned out to be more difficult than I thought. So I've had to explain that to the client and told them that I may need some extra time to complete the job. So that's pretty much, normal thing for most people in that situation. I guess the other side of it too is I make things overly complex for myself in some days, especially when it's effectively something that could be simplified in certain aspects of my life. But I do make things overly complex, and I probably overanalyze and overthink a lot of things in my life. And I know that I do this, and I'm notoriously bad for it. But there's probably worse things I could be doing if effectively could be on crack or meth. But yeah, what? If I was on crack or meth, I'd probably be thinner. But yeah, no, I mean that's a joke, but still. But yeah, like just thinking of the context of it, really. I guess in context of it, the way that I thought about it in the back of my mind is that effectively, I try my best in most situations. I put my best effort into things. I don't half-ass shit. I never have half-ass shit. Maybe some of my efforts... It's not that my efforts are bad, it's probably the fact that I haven't got as much training on it, or I effectively train myself to do it. I mean, there's a few things I could definitely probably go... Effectively, I could find somebody who had a bit more expertise in that in that particular field, maybe like certain aspects of my video editing and stuff like that, because my video editing isn't great, and I'm well aware of what my video editing is like. I don't always edit myself. The truth is, I just don't really filter myself. It's very rare for me to filter myself. Sometimes I've been a little bit better at filtering myself lately. But effectively, when I do my videos, I don't really filter myself. I don't really there's no filter in there. There's nothing there, And effectively, I don't really edit my videos either. I don't put any effort into editing them, really. That's mainly because I guess it's probably more so that I should probably go and do a course on video editing, truthfully. And I've just never effectively looked for a course. I mean, I could probably look for a course on video editing. That's probably something I could do. So yes, my videos are mostly unedited and they're very raw. That's the truth. It's very raw footage. It's always very raw. It's always very to the bone. And I don't know. Most of the people that I've ever talked to really don't mind the way I do my videos. But I guess the other side of it too is I've been open to criticism on that, and people have pointed out that maybe I do need to edit my videos. And you know what? I have noted people who've said that, and maybe they've got a few valid points there. And I think maybe effectively, if I start to edit my videos more, it'd probably be more effective and probably be a good idea. I guess the other thing too, that might be more effective in my mind for my YouTube videos is if I prepared some type of script. Which, to be honest, I'm thinking about getting my nephews to help me with that, because my nephews have helped me with a few things lately. Firstly, people pointed out that my website had a lot of certain errors, and not just that, but like there were certain things on my website that didn't look good. So I put that into effect, and I said, look, I talked to one of my nephews, and they said they were willing to help me with, well, actually one of my nephews, and Jacob, he said he was willing to help me with my website, so that's fine. He did. He helped me with my website. It still needs a bit more editing, but he said when he's not too busy, he would come over and have a look at it and do a bit more editing for me. Because to be honest, that site was just slapped together, with duct tape, basically. I'll be honest, that's the truth. The site was slapped together with duct tape. It probably needed some fine-tuning, and that's my point. I think that's effectively what I got my nephew to do. I just said, look, can you have a look at it? Can you give me your opinion? The other side of it too is he wanted me to build that machine for him, and that machine's going to help him editing and as well as doing his own stuff. It might be able to help him out doing stuff for me as well. So yeah, it's a combination of those two things. So that's how I think the plus side of it there. What else? I guess I guess that's the thing. And I've had some of my eBay listings that I've got my nephew to help me with as well, because some of my eBay listings need to be a bit more trendy and stuff, so people could see. Not just that, they came out a bit more clearer. They were a bit more concise and stuff like that, and just spelling and grammar corrections and stuff like that. Because my spelling grammar is awful, to be honest. I mean, I will be honest. My spelling grammar is the worst on the planet. I know that. I'm well aware of that. My articulation when I speak, though, two different things. So, yeah, it's effectively what the psychologist told me when he did the assessment on me. He said, your vocabulary is amazing. I said, thank you very much. But when it comes to, like, spelling grammar and stuff like that, I definitely have issues with that. There's certain aspects of my education that I had certain aspects of my education that I had a couple of issues with, but, that's my point. I'm not a stupid person by any means. But I've had certain learning difficulties throughout my high school years and throughout the years of my life, and, I'm willing to admit that that's the case. It's true. Maybe there's some things I can definitely improve upon, and there's probably things that I'm going to get people to help me with regardless. And, I've got a good family, a good support system, which are willing to help me with that stuff, and not just that, but they're willing to. I mean, look, at the end of it, effectively, there's stuff that when it comes to building computers, fixing computers, pulling them apart, doing all of that stuff and everything else, I'm fucking great at that. I know that. Other stuff in my life, it's mainly like spelling, grammar, and stuff like that, and certain aspects of that stuff that I'm not great with. But I know, and I'm willing to admit that weakness. It's not really a weakness. It's just, it's effectively something that just happened because of my education, because of my combination of the education system, and I guess not just a combination of that, but my own patterns and stuff. And I mean, look, at the end of it, because of the autism and the other stuff that is effectively going on in my life, I'll learn to compensate for it to some degree. So, but yeah, I mean, that's my point. There's, like I said, the computers do help me with a lot of things. Particularly because I use a lot of spelling correction programs and stuff like that, especially when I'm doing certain things or typing certain stuff up. even when I'm typing stuff on Facebook for that matter. And that definitely helps me a lot. Computers are effectively more easy with some of the ways you can do things. You can, whether it's paying a bill online or doing other things, it's effectively made me be more independent with myself. Whether it's needing to pay a bill or needing to pay for items online or whatever, or buy stuff and things like that. It's much easier to buy stuff online and get it delivered these days in comparison to, just always having to go out all the time. I guess the other side of it too is it's made it easier for me to interact with technical support. There's certain aspects of everything in my life I know computers have made my life a lot easier. Put it that way, and it's made things a lot easier for me, effectively. Um, That's effectively why I carry my smartphone around so much. I guess the main thing that I sort of goes on in the back of my mind, I guess, is that you know I have my faults, I have my issues, but I'm willing to admit and point them out and say these are the things that are wrong. I'm trying to fix them. I'm not just trying to fix them, but I'm trying to better myself at the same time. I'm also trying to learn new things as well, that effectively. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do at this point. Um, but yeah, I guess at the end of it, I want to do the best by myself. I mean, I want to do as much as I can by myself, but there's always going to be moments where I need help from people, whether it's my close family. I mean, effectively, it's always been my close family that I get help from. I also get help from other people as well. People, good friends, really, but they have to be good friends, effectively, if I get help from them. Um, I guess the other side of it too is I'm sort of stuck in this situation at the moment because I have, the meds going on and everything else, and up until the point that I mean, most of the time I don't have issues waking up, but I do have moments where I literally can't wake up. Or I can wake up, but my sleep patterns are so irregular and stuff like that. I have bouts of insomnia at the same time. That kind of annoys me. There's some issues where sometimes in some issues, excuse me. There's some issues when I can't actually sleep at all. And I just effectively, I just literally can't sleep. Like, for example, it's 6:30 a.m. and I haven't been to sleep yet. And the main reason I haven't been to sleep is, I guess, because, let's see, let me work this out in the back of my mind. The reason that I haven't been to sleep at the moment is, I guess, that I've just been mucking around doing stuff all night and, I guess, focused on things. I've also reset a few things on my computer. I was doing a couple things on my computer anyway. But, oh, actually, no, that's not entirely true. I was talking to a friend. That's right, yeah. So, effectively, I was actually talking to him most of the night. I was talking to him till about 2 a.m. And then I thought, fuck it, I'll do a YouTube video for the hell of it. Let's just do a fucking YouTube video. Just to get that out of the way, So, yeah. But, yes, I did stay up with him, effectively. It's kind of annoying, though. I feel a bit of an obligation, especially if I'm talking to somebody, not to be rude and walk away from the conversation, and that's a bit of an issue for me sometimes, especially with friends. If I'm a good friend with somebody, I effectively don't. I feel it's a bit rude to walk away from the conversation because my mum always taught me manners. She always taught me manners. She always taught me to be not rude around people, But I don't know. Like I said, it's such a cross-platform with things. It's just ridiculous, it's just, look, at the end of it, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff that I go on about, but the truth is, it's all pretty sensible stuff most of the time. Unless I've got a couple of drinks. It depends on it. But, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that I'm willing to admit that I have issues, and I'm willing to admit that I'm far from perfect. But, at least I'm true. At least I'm true. I'm not faking anything. I'm not faking myself. I am who I am. You either accept me or you fucking don't. So that's effectively what I'm saying anyway. But I'll leave it there for this personal blog, which this is going to be marked as a personal blog on Facebook. Oh, not on Facebook, Jesus. On fucking YouTube, sorry. And if people really want to get into content with me, I mean, whether it's content creation, I mean, I don't know. Look, if people really want to, you know, I don't know, if people want to sub anyway, but look, at the end of it, I'm not going to beg for subs. I don't see the point. If people want to sub, they can sub. If they don't want to sub, it's their choice. But it would be nice for people to sub. Well, not just that, it would be... If you have genuine interest in the content that I provide, just, you know, yeah, fuck it. Sub. If you don't, then I guess you're not going to fucking sub. A bit like the other thing too is I'm open to comments. I'm open to comments about my videos, as long as you're not a real asshole about it. I mean, as long as you're not too much of a dick about it. I'm happy for people to list constructive points, and not just that, constructive criticism is the same thing, because I'm trying to make improvements in my life. I'm trying to make improvements in my video content. I'm trying to make improvements in myself. I'm trying to make improvements, whether it's improvements in my weight, whether it's improvements in my health. All these things I'm trying to improve, you know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with improving that stuff. And not just that, I tend to think improvement is a good thing, you know, effectively anyway. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much. This has been a personal blog. I was yabbering on about stuff, but if you listen to most of the stuff I was talking about, it was all relevant to me. Some of it was talking about troll stuff. Some of it was talking about stuff I've had to deal over the last 3 or 4 weeks. The other thing too is I have been having intermittent problems with some of my social media stuff, but that's alright. My social media stuff's back to normal now, for the most part. My Facebook's still a little bit flaky, but I have had some stuff that's been going on, and I think it's mostly because I had added a fair few people to Facebook, and I think effectively what's happened is that I've added some people that are questionable, who are sort of fucking with me. Not just fucking with me a little, but, you know, so effectively what's happened is there's actually people who are out there who are sort of just having a go and attacking social media stuff. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened with most of the stuff that I've had anyway. But, you know what, I sorted it out anyway. I spoke to people. The other side of it too is I had somebody copy my YouTube video, literally. Just copy first half of my YouTube video. And I had to put a copyright strike on their account because you can't just copy somebody's content like that. That's just ridiculous. And, you know, effectively, it's the same context, you know. It's effectively why I started banning people now, because I have to lay the law down. I can't fucking stand back and just, you know, let it happen, basically. Alright. Okay. Alright. Catch ya. Talk to you, I guess, in the not too distant future, but this is just a personal blog. If you want to keep up to date with some of the stuff I'm going to be doing, I will be doing a eventual live stream probably on Twitch, I'd say. At this point, yeah, I'd say Twitch is going to be the place I'll be doing it. Yeah, probably, yeah. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. Oh, yes, and that live stream is going to be me rebuilding a gaming PC using old parts, or effectively 2 machines. I'm going to break them up into pieces, and I'm going to use the best parts out of each machine. And not just that, I'm going to get some extra parts as well, and I'm going to make it into a nice gaming machine. So we should be good. Alright, okay.